This KFAN podcast is sponsored by Builders and Remodelers, exclusive Twin Cities provider of Elements Windows. Get the highest quality windows at unmatchable value. Visit buildersandremodelers.com for more details.
Time is precious, and so are our pets. So time with our pets is extra precious. That's why we started Dutch. Dutch provides 24/7 access to licensed vets with unlimited virtual visits and follow-ups for up to 5 pets. You can message a vet at any time and schedule a video visit the same day. Our vets can even prescribe medication for many ailments, and shipping is always free. With Dutch, you'll get more time with your pets and year-round peace of mind when it comes to their vet care.
Fan. Just in case you missed it, it's the top 5 sports talkers of the day. Now, it's time for Dan Barrero's Top 5 at 5. Brought to you by Gutter Helmet of Minnesota. Never clean your gutters again. Learn more at gutterhelmetmn.com.
I do want to remind you now, because I know Lori Fisher is always listening or has spies listening. Even though she is not a part of the Enough Said program, tonight's episode, Natalie Brinegar is, and it will be on Fox 9 Plus, I think at 7:30.
Yep.
And Fox 9, I don't remember the time. Do you?
10:30 is what they said.
10:30.
There must be UFL football again.
Look, we get it. It's a funky night. Timberwolves game number 3, but hit the DVR. There's a lot of ways you can do it. And if not, you can also go back via fox9.com, I think. And can you get it through Fox Local as well?
Yeah, Fox
app?
Local has archives and everything.
It's all kinds of stuff. So those are options for you tonight. We cover a lot of ground on this evening's program. Where would you like to start the top 5?
I want to begin in the Target Field area.
Oh.
Not Target Center yet, but Target Field, where it is amazing. Like Brett Blakemore's going to the Twins game tonight.
Yeah.
Pat Kessler and Freaky McFreak are going to the Twins game tonight. That's got to feel a little lonely, doesn't it? When you're there and you're looking over at Target Center, which is going to be a madhouse, or if you're looking even further to the X last night. But the Twins do return to action, and Pablo Lopez returns to action after his injured list stint. He will get the ball tonight against Kyle Hendricks, and even further, I don't even know if the Saints are in town tonight, but Royce Lewis is expected to start his rehab assignment. Finally. Where are we? April 25th. So he's missed about a month of the season. Right around a month, right? Late March. Mm-hmm. And he's ramping up now his rehab to hopefully return to play. And even within that, I love the llama basically putting the brakes on everything. Like, he's got to go over there, got to see how he comes out of it. A couple of games. He's got to play a few full games. He's not going to do that tonight. I think he's on an innings count. But as I said on Enough Said tonight, Dan, I tried to be glass half full for at least another 2 weeks. Now's the time you got to maybe start your run a little bit with some of these guys coming back. Hopefully Correa starts hitting one of these days. But it all begins tonight against the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim, who can chalk this up to a schedule loss because they had to take a red eye last night to get here and got in very early this morning.
So that is the interesting question. Is baseball rigorous enough physically for us to consider the possibility of a schedule loss if you get in late? Or is it the one sport you say, what are you doing? You're barely running around out there. It's not like basketball. It's not like hockey where it's constant action. It's not like football, for God's sake. It's baseball. And half you're going to be sitting in the dugout farting. What's the difference?
Well, I think the fact that their manager, Mike Scioscia, actually I have no idea who their new manager is, but
we'll go with it.
They refused. The Twins asked to move this game up to 6:10 from 7:10
for traffic,
for parking and everything and everything that goes with it. And the Angels refused. They said, we can do 6:40.
That's as far as we'll go.
But we're not going to 6:10. So they would believe in the concept of a schedule loss, it seems like.
That's true.
That extra hour makes a big difference.
Well, I don't think they're very good.
They're 500, I think.
They're not awful, but last year, same time period, basically, Twins had an awful start, and then they had the White Sox and the Angels back-to-back at home, and I don't think they lost. Now, they already have lost one to the White Sox after winning the first 2 games of the series. So, if they're using history as a precedent, they will use this opportunity, in addition maybe to getting a little healthier, to getting something done. And they have the beauty of understanding that nobody's paying attention to them right now. Really. There's nobody paying any attention
except the Kesslers.
Except for the Kesslers. And my guess is they won't stay long. And I'm fairly certain my sources say they are not only in the beautiful people seats, they are in the beautiful, beautiful people seats. Like the most beautiful people seats you can get at Target Field.
Well, there's room there too, though. If you look at the television
set. That's true.
If you look at the Twins channel on Xfinity, which for me is 1261, there's plenty of room available. Not so much in St. Paul, where I heard the tail end of your conversation with Bill Guerin.
Yes.
I thought he played it exactly how he was supposed to. We haven't won anything yet. What are we doing? Which is 100% true.
It's true.
It's been a great 2 games. They played unbelievable. Last night was tremendous. Kaprizov gets them going just a couple of minutes in. Obviously, Boldy was good again. Great effort play by Rossi as well. It's all good for the Wild right now as they pretty much dominate the Golden Knights 5-2 and take a 2-1 lead in the best-of-7 series with, I think, the biggest game in the last 10 years for the Wild tomorrow. You've got them on the mat. Keep them on the mat.
Well, was it 2 years ago we were in the exact same position, and didn't we say, basically, boot on the throat now? Obviously, you don't have to win, but you have to win. And we squandered that opportunity, as I recall it, and then we never really recovered. And sooner or later, that is what you're going to have to do. You know, you simply can't relax. And I do sense that they have the superior team, the more highly seeded team, the team with Stanley Cup pedigree. I think, 17 players still left from that team, on the defensive a little bit. You have them, for whatever reason, you could say it's a combination of the Wild playing well and Vegas not playing so well. Maybe a little bit. We had a little bit of puck luck last night on one of our goals. That's legal, though.
Yep.
You can make the argument. You make your own luck, too.
Fire it at the net, see what happens.
Regardless, don't let them. I mean, just keep this going so you never let them regain their equilibrium, because the fear is if you let them, then maybe you lose control of the series as well. So I'm as curious as anybody to see how this thing goes. I'm not going to look at it as the series is over if they go back to Vegas 2-2, but you're back to sort of like, well, now we've seen this movie.
Yeah, and what an opportunity.
And it's a great chance to take complete control of the series, because, as we mentioned, the last 4 times we've been in the playoffs, we've led in each of those series. And the last 2 times we've been in the playoffs, we were up similarly 2-1 with a chance, I think in both cases, was it not, to win Game 4 at home? Because I think in both cases we started those series on the road. I could be wrong. The hockey Fallness would know. But, yeah, that's the situation. That's the opportunity. And that's the beauty of what they did yesterday. They played most of the way a very good game. That first Kaprizov goal was
awesome.
Man, it was just effortless, where he has that quick release, and the puck is gone before you know it, and he just flick of the wrist, and it's gone. And
after
in this
he had
case,
it,
the goalie was shielded a little bit, but it was a hell of a shot.
Well, just having the puck the entire way around. I love when he does that.
Yeah.
I love when he does that. Game 4 tomorrow, 3:00. A game you can hear right here on the Fan. Puck drop at 3. Pregame show starts at 2:58 tomorrow. Our Wolves pregame show, Howlin' with the Homies, starts immediately following us tonight at 6:30. You can hear that game right here on the Fan. Wolves Lakers, Game 3. For the first time in the series, Dan, the Timberwolves are favored tonight. 3-point favorites tonight at Target Center. We're not favored in Game 1 or Game 2. First time that they are favored tonight. And this is, I think you got to keep playing this series from ahead. I think they're the better team. I've said it all week since Game 2. Get this one tonight. Go up 2-1.
Yeah.
See what happens after that. We can have the same discussion about Game 4 later, but it's important. I think you don't want to be staring Sunday down, looking at a 1-2 deficit with the possibility of going down 3-1, going back to crypto.
No, that's a little bit scary, and you do worry that if the Lakers do get the upper hand by winning tonight, that then you might actually again lose control of this thing. So I'm as curious as anybody to see if there's any strategic changes that this team might make. The biggest issue seems to be they came at Edwards when he had the ball harder and in different ways than they did in the opener. And they had some success with it. Edwards talked about being a bit confused by some of it, and I think somebody looked it up. This was the first game, or was it the first playoff game, where Edwards didn't have an assist in like two years, like since 2023.
It was like 3 years,
yeah. So that has to be fixed. As much as the ball is in his hands, and the supporting cast absolutely has to play much better than it did in game number 1. Play fast, play downhill, play aggressive. Don't wait for Luka to take your heart out. Put the pressure right back on him. And do it from the opening tap, but knowing that you can't win the game in the first quarter. You know, that they're going to, even if you're ahead at that point, they're going to, eventually take another run, at least one run at you. I'm more curious about LeBron than I am anybody else, because the fear I have is that maybe LeBron has a game in him that we go back and go, God, he's 40 and he can still, that he might have one or two of those games. So you can't, as much as we're obsessed with Luka, you can't forget the LeBron factor. That means keep him occupied as well.
The Fan and BigDeck.com want to give you a shot at bonus bucks. It is our national cash contest. Final keyword of the evening and the week is money. Go to KFAN.com and enter the keyword money.
All right, don't forget in about 15 minutes, Lavelle, and speaking of the Wolves, Jonny Athletic will join at 6:02. Stay tuned. I've got a Golden Gopher question, as odd as that might seem in this current environment.
Okay.
Because of an anniversary date. We'll get into that and much more when we come back.
Picture this. You're pregnant, so you sweep your house for any harmful chemicals. But when you need to look for a prenatal multivitamin, all you can find are options with potentially high heavy metals and questionable ingredients. This is where Ritual comes in. Our pregnancy support is made traceable and clean label project certified for the many stages of pregnancy, including trying to get there. Like fertility support, a 3-in-1 blend of CoQ10, NAC, and myo-inositol to help support conception outcomes. Or our essential prenatal multivitamin with 12 key ingredients for mom-to-baby support. Oh, and our essential postnatal multivitamin for the new nutrient demands of postpartum and lactation. This is the pregnancy support you deserve. Get 25% off at ritual.com/pregnancy support. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Now, Fallness is feeling sorry for himself again. He wants us to know that Beyond the Pond will be exclusively hockey related between 10 and noon tomorrow. Then an extended pregame show will begin at 2. And Game 4 will then be followed by Wild Fan Line.
That's a heck of a Saturday.
It's about time. It's about time that they actually
front
fill the
runners,
schedule.
if you ask me.
Yeah, it's funny how they waited until the team was up 2-1 to actually extend a pregame show. But that's sort of where we're at. I'm suggesting that the greatest tweet ever has just been sent out, and it was sent out about 12 hours ago. I retweeted it because I can't get over it. I can't get past it. It's, for some reason, Clint Eastwood is trending, and I don't think he's in any kind of health danger or anything, but he just said that happens sometimes. And the tweet is with the tweet, there's a photo. And in the photo, some of the kids might not get it, but some of the old-timers will. I think all the old-timers will. In the photo, Clint Eastwood is doing the twist with an actress named Connie Hines in front of Mr. Ed in 1962. And in the background, and I don't know what the story is on this animal, there's a little beagle behind Eastwood, seemingly captivated by Mr. Eastwood and Connie Hines. Connie Hines plays the wife of Wilbur, as I recall it, in the TV show Mr. Ed, which was about a talking horse.
That's
for
right.
those who aren't familiar. And I don't know where Eastwood comes in, if he was on a show or if he just happened to be walking by the set. And it looks like they were in front of Building 6.
Yeah.
Wherever that was, Building 6. And it's just, there's so much history. It's just so perfectly played that I, for now, until I find another one, I'm offering it to you as the greatest tweet ever. I retweeted it. It's definitely worth a look. Mr. Ed looks kind of interested. The beagle looks more interested, to tell you the truth.
I wonder if it's a famous beagle that we're not thinking of.
It might be. I have absolutely no idea. But it looks like Eastwood he's rocking a little bit.
He's
twist,
moving.
Isn't he?
Yeah, he's moving.
There's good movement in the tweet. And Connie Hines, it looks like she's trying to figure out what to make of him a little bit. And Mr. Ed is just looking on, which Mr. Ed did a lot. Mr. Ed, speaking of sports moments, I think we've talked about this before on the program. One of the most famous Mr. Ed episodes, he ends up in a Los Angeles Dodgers uniform. There's several real Dodgers players, and I think the manager, too, at the time, was in on it, and Mr. Ed ends up scoring all the way from first base on a triple.
That makes sense.
Sliding into home plate. It's just...
How'd they pull that off?
I don't even remember. I just remember that it was impressive. And you could probably even find the episode. So, but whether... I mean, because a lot of those big-time actors did a lot of, weekly TV stuff where it was like a guest bit every once in a while on famous shows. A bunch of them did the TV version of The Fugitive long before it was a best-selling movie. So maybe he was in, or maybe he was just making a move on Connie, the very alluring Connie Hines. I don't know.
It's a free country.
That's very true.
He was Clint Eastwood.
But take a look at the tweet. It's I had a lot of fun with that. It's very well done. Here's my Gopher item for you real quick. And then we got Lavelle. We'll talk plenty of NBA and NHL, Stanley Cup playoffs, NBA playoffs as well in a minute. But where did it go? Hold on a second. I'll find it. This is a Dan Winnesota special, and this is one of those, on this date. On this date in 1986. Do you know what happened? Gopher related?
86?
1986.
It had to have been something Lou Holtz related.
It's something actually, literally, Gopher related.
Oh.
The University of Minnesota introduced a less angry Goldie Gopher mascot look. And it's described and the story is it's an Associated Press story, interestingly enough, out of Minneapolis. The fierce, life-size Goldie with the physique of a professional, aggressive-looking, too mean-looking, too evil, probably not generic enough, and too masculine-looking is the way it was put by Gerald Odell, promotions director at the time for the men's athletic department. So the new Goldie, less fierce, also described in this story as less masculine than last year's version, with kind of a friendlier, so instead of a glare, there's a friendlier, more approachable smile.
Right.
Is that current? Have we updated Goldie Gopher, the image, the look, since 1986? And if we haven't, might it be time for, a fresher look?
An upgrade?
Yeah.
Well, I know on that full body mascot, I still see that popping around.
Okay.
The one that was indicated. I did see that earlier today. I'd forgotten about it. But I don't think there's been much of a refresh.
I think it's time. Don't you? Image is everything.
New era now?
Yes, this is big stuff. This is how you sell the program. Apparently, a man named Steve Wanvig, a commercial artist from Owatonna, designed the Fierce Gopher last spring and then redesigned it a few weeks ago. The tough-looking Gopher had replaced a series of rather nerdy-looking Gophers that had appeared on pennants, cups, keychains, and T-shirts over the years. Didn't we go through this with the Timberwolves, where the objection was the Timberwolf was way too innocent looking, not fierce enough looking, right? Not dangerous enough looking. As if making the mascot change would distract people from the fact that, well, the team itself isn't fierce looking. It's way too soft, and it's way too approachable and beatable. But we were looking for image there. So we I think, did make the Timberwolf look, at least in images, much more vicious, right? Much more unapproachable than the old, more lovable, cuddly Timberwolf.
I think the Wolves should go back to their original logo.
Well,
they call it Old Shep. That's what they call him.
Is that okay? That's
what all the diehards call him. Guys like Munich, have been there since before day one. That, to me, is the greatest Timberwolves logo of all time. I think they need to go back to it.
Yeah, it's solid.
More permanently.
Yeah. They told me at the beginning they wanted a real tough, rough, aggressive Gopher. Lou Holtz was football coach, and they wanted to change the team's image. But the second time around, they wanted a friendlier, cheerful, less threatening little gopher, is the way the commercial artist for Jostens was quoted. That's why I was quoted at the time. I think it's time for a refresh. I really do.
Why don't we just go back to the mean one?
Well, we could do that, but I'm looking. I mean, what did the mean one look like? Because in this one, I mean, the photos they don't look that different from me. Like the photos with the story, the new Goldie Gopher left is less fierce and masculine. The look is almost identical on both faces, are they not? I don't understand. Now, the one on the right looks burlier.
I got to pull it up here.
But the face, to me, doesn't look all of that different. I don't think there's any meaningful difference in the face at all. In fact, to me, it's literally the same face. It's the same
It's
expression.
the eyes.
Oh, it's the eyes?
The eyes are a little bit more furrowed
Okay.
on the right. Yeah.
Did you say so?
The one on the
I don't
right.
think there's that much of a difference myself.
Yeah, the one on the right, the shoulders are a little bit bigger.
Yeah, I get that, but,
The eyes are different
I
on
want
the
a
two
complete
Goldies.
refresh. Now, the problem in 2025 at the U is how many committees are you going to have to go through to get, and so by the time you get through all the committees and the artist responds to every single amendment that's being demanded, at the end of the thing, I'm not even sure what Goldie Gopher would look like.
I think those days are over. I think you just give it to Mark Coyle and
You don't
let him
even worry
draw
about
it.
it?
I think that's how he's been
You think
rolling
we're
with these
past that?
with
We're
these
post-
hirings.
Okay, maybe
yeah,
you're
I
right.
think the committee days are done.
Yeah, maybe you're right
I think
about that.
the Don Plitzowite and Nico Medved hirings, I think Mark's doing what he wants. So maybe get Goldie on his plate.
How about changing? Is it too radical to change the name of Goldie Gopher?
Probably.
Or is that too locked in?
Probably. And when did they change it from IE to Y? Did you notice that?
Oh, I didn't notice that. Oh, you're right. In the cut line, it says,
It's Goldie Gopher like Goldie Hawn.
Yeah. I like
pretty sure-
Y better.
Well, I think
than
that's
IE.
what it is now.
Yeah, I think Y makes more sense.
That's what we need to figure it out. When did they change from IE to Y?
I don't know. I have absolutely no. But given that in 2025 everything is image,
Yeah.
I guess I'm surprised this hasn't come up more recently. And maybe, it may not be in the front burner, but again, image is everything these days. It's all about finding ways to plug in and connect. And there's still a Goldie Gopher mascot at games, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Absolutely. Still spins his head.
Still does that?
Oh, yeah. It's a great bit.
And how does that, do you remember what that face looks like? Is it?
It's the smiley one.
It's the smiley one.
It's
okay.
the friendlier one, I think. It's not very mean.
Yeah.
The best Goldie mascot picture drawing is like the original one, where it's not as big of a gopher. Like it almost looks like more of a human.
Okay.
Some of the coaches wear it every once in a while. It's a throwback Goldie from years and years and years ago. Now, you know me, I'm a sucker for nostalgia, like a lot of Gopher fans are. So I think we all like.
Yeah, I tend
and
to
even
also.
I just mentioned, the old Wolves logo. Like I'm a sucker for that kind of stuff. So I like the old Goldie.
Well, what I want to know is how, did we have a Goldie Gopher back when we were winning natties? Which was most recently we won a natty in early 60s, right? Didn't we win in 60 or 61 right in that period?
Yep.
And then we won a bunch in the 30s.
Yep.
But did we even have a Goldie Gopher then? I'm assuming we did in the 60s.
I bet we did. Yeah.
What did that Goldie Gopher look like?
And should we bring that back?
And it was that one nerdy? Because I would say I can live with. I think you do want one that is imposing, don't you? You want one that you want people to fear your gopher, or do you want it to be cuddly and nice and approachable?
I think you want it to be approachable because the kids really like the mascots.
We're not in this for the kids. We're in this to try to be better at everything and scaring people off and to try to raise money. I think the nastier looking, the more vicious Goldie Gopher would actually help us raise more.
We'd have more NIL.
I think we get more NIL. I do.
If you bring that Goldie to the meeting, they're afraid to not write the check.
Yeah, somebody said, how about a gopher with teeth sunk into an obviously running away person and red eyes, a rabies gopher? Is that too aggressive? Is that too?
Well, we can always self-correct.
Have
if we
more
need
than
to.
one. Have some. It wouldn't be illegal to have 2 or 3 different versions. They all have to look the same?
It's good. Another good
Depending
point.
on the circumstance and situation?
Do you know what I think you've just nominated yourself for?
What's that?
The Goldie Committee. You mentioned they need to have they need to have a committee to get all this thing done. I think they need your leadership
I have
down
no
there.
problem on that. I would expect no compensation in return.
You could spearhead the Goldie Committee.
Maybe I can get Mace on there too.
You could help him get his TV back if you went down there and had the meetings there.
Lavelle Neal III. We'll talk Stanley Cup playoffs, Wild being up 2-1. We'll find out if he thinks the Wolves will follow suit this evening at Target Center. If we have to.
Picture this. You're pregnant, so you sweep your house for any harmful chemicals. But when you need to look for a prenatal multivitamin, all you can find are options with potentially high heavy metals and questionable ingredients. This is where Ritual comes in. Our pregnancy support is made traceable and clean label project certified for the many stages of pregnancy, including trying to get there. Like fertility support, a 3-in-1 blend of CoQ10, NAC, and myo-inositol to help support conception outcomes. Or our essential prenatal multivitamin with 12 key ingredients for mom to baby support. Oh, and our essential postnatal multivitamin for the new nutrient demands of postpartum and lactation. This is the pregnancy support you deserve. Get 25% off at ritual.com/pregnancy support. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
We'll even mix in some tours. Lavelle Neal III, the old puckhead himself, kind enough to join us via the Connecticut Water Systems Hotline, brought to you by Allery's Bar and Barbecue, downtown St. Paul, your home, for free parking and wild shuttles.
You got it.
That's it. Are you speaking to us from Allery's right now, Lavelle?
No, I'm actually sitting at Target Center.
You're already there.
Wolves Lakers game to get going here.
The calm before the storm, eh?
Yes, very much calm. And there's panic over at Target Field before the Twins Angels game because our beat writer, Phil Miller, his deadline is at 11. And the Wolves game is probably going to end right around 11. So he's trying to figure out a way to get done fast. And this is reported communication people problems. It's not commoner problems.
Yeah,
but,
the average Rube doesn't care.
He's worried about getting done right when Target Center is releasing 18,000 fans after a win or a loss. So, plus, the other layer to this is that the I-94 construction has really destroyed downtown. Traveling to downtown, I am disincentivized to drive downtown right now because of the backups once you get close to downtown Minneapolis on 94, because it's down to 2 lanes in each direction. And if you need to go west to east, it's only a couple spots you can enter I-94 eastbound on, or you might as well are better off going across 36 to the East Metro, or maybe going down to 62. It's really a pain in the rear end, and it's going on until November, which means Vikings traffic will be affected, and it's going to be a mess.
Traffic and weather with Lavelle.
I was going to say, we get our traffic
here
on the quarter hour here,
Wobbs. It's just unbelievable. Well, by the way, somebody said that is the construction around Uptown, if we're going to go down Construction Road, is that been eased at all, or is that still ongoing? Because that's been a disaster for several years, hasn't it? The construction in the Uptown, in a couple spots in Uptown.
I haven't been through there recently, so yeah, I would imagine it is. You know, in my younger Haight-Ashbury days, I used to roam up and down Uptown.
Yeah, we all did. Yeah, we all did. By the way,
I miss Uptown.
Not as frequent now.
We like it here.
So,
you guys want to rip on the traffic and you want to whine about getting out of games. You know what? Move to Green Bay. You don't have to worry about any of these traffic issues. You don't have any. You only got one team, and it plays in the fall. So you have to accept in a major metropolitan area. You have to expect some things are going to be a little inconvenient for you if you want a little culture.
But then I'd be around Packers fans.
Well, yeah, that's true too. That's what I say. You can't have it. You can't have it all ways. Like Johnny. We'll ask him about this when we have time at 6:02. He tweeted the quintessential "we like it here" tweet the other day. After spending a week in L.A., I couldn't be happier to be back because I got from the airport to home in like 7 minutes. And somebody said, I think it was Ashburn, actually. responded with a January blizzard shot of Minnesota saying, well, how about, you remember this part? Is this convenient? Is this part of the convenience? It's unbelievable. I mean, we're never, he's basically saying everything's wonderful here, including traffic. You're saying traffic's terrible here. So we're going to have to come to some consensus, don't we?
The construction traffic is horrible right now. And the fact that it's going on through November is very terrifying. I love Ashley just coming over the jumping off the top rope from, is he in like North Carolina, South Carolina now or something?
I think he's in the South somewhere. Yeah, I think you're right. I think he's moved a couple of times. But I think that's where he is at this point. I'm not sure. I mean, the bottom line, I was talking to somebody about this earlier today. I think we got to get over ourselves a little bit. I mean, this is a fine place to live. I mean, I've lived here, 14. I've lived here almost 40 years now, for God's sake. So obviously I must like it.
Good Lord.
And there's a lot of great, but I dare say every community has trade-offs, right? That there's some stuff about California that you could say, oh my God, the traffic we know is awful, but then the weather is awfully nice. And you don't have to worry about April, where it might be 74 one day and 46 and a driving rain the next. You know what I'm saying? So I think you can make out wherever you are, lots of places, and most places have some good things about them and some bad things about them. So I think we got to get over ourselves that everything's perfect here. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, I'm going to complain about the traffic, and the construction traffic, but and the bigger picture is that, yes, we want our bridges to be updated when they need to be updated. So I totally get that. So it's an inconvenience.
Yeah.
And it causes us to, come up with alternative routes to work. I've gotten to know Highway 36 very, very well over the last couple of weeks. So short-term pain for long-term gain.
Yeah, you're right about that. All right, so are you riding tonight? Or are you writing for the weekend?
I'm not writing. I'm not writing. I'm kind of absorbing and pontificating on future college.
That's it. Well, that makes sense. It's a good place to be in the belly of the beast. So
I was at X last night till 2 a.m.
Okay, nice.
Chronicling off the Wild game, glorious victory over the Kings. So this has been a busy week because it's involved Twins, Wolves from distance. Wild in person, Wolves tonight, and then Wild on Sunday. So,
well, we were talking about this earlier, and Gaardsy, I think this is accurate. I think we've confirmed it. We have a chance to make history this year. We really do have a chance to make history, and that would be that for the first time ever, both the Wild and the Timberwolves advance out of round one during the first postseason. That has never happened once.
Correct.
And so it would be again, it's sad that we have such a low threshold for success, for defining success, but it would be a nice start. I have us as a combined, the two franchises in their history, 8-27 in playoff series, total playoff series, we've won 8 playoff series, lost 27. Wow. That's unofficial because I did it in a hurry, but it's there's the opportunity here, right? The Wild have opened the door with a great Game 3 victory, even though we got to know they've been up 2-1 the last 2 times they've been in the playoffs and didn't finish the deal, but they're in position again. Wild have a chance to get to 2-1 with also, Wolves, I should say, with a chance to do, the same thing. So from the beginning of this series, we both thought the Wolves had an excellent chance to win it. The Wolves played better the last quarter of the season, actually, than the Lakers did. But you still got to finish the job, right? So let's start with the Wild here. You were there last night. Have you already seen enough to say, there's no reason they can't win this thing? Or are you still questioning that? Because, again, we've had leads in playoff series. The last 4 times the Wild have been in a series, and they've yet to actually finish the job.
That's the thing, too. They've been 2-1 in some of those series, too.
The last 2.
And things have boomeranged on them afterwards here. I like what I'm seeing. This is the Wild team that we saw before the injuries hit in November. That was considered one of the top, handful of teams in the NHL.
Right.
The amazing thing about this, Dan, is that how fast Kirill Kaprizov has gone from coming off the injured list to being back at top level hockey has been amazing to me. I mean, having covered baseball for so long, I covered George Brett with the Royals his last couple of years, and he missed over 350 games in his career because of injuries. But the one constant thread with him is that every time he came off the injured list, he came off with a streak. He announced his return with authority,
yes,
and started off hot at the plate. And Creel has come off the injured list hot at the plate. And that is another sign of a great player who, could put himself on a Hall of Fame trajectory if he can stack some seasons, full seasons, like the partial season he's had this year. And consequently, because he has raised his game back to where it was in November, the rest of the team looks as formidable as it was in November. And the top line with Boldy and Eck has been fabulous. And Boldy's been a monster now. The crack has been unleashed thanks to Creel being on the ice with him. So that's the one thing that's stunning to me, just watching this unfold, because I was wondering how long would it take Creel to knock off some rust, and the answer is maybe one game.
Yeah, it's undeniable. He's a rare influencer. There's no question. And somebody had the comment, I don't remember who, might have been somebody, I don't know if it was a member of the Golden Knights, the coach, that he's obviously high-end talent, but he also is a guy who never stops, right? He has the sort of, effort and drive of a guy we view. Usually we associate that kind of effort and drive with players who are more blue-collar, who have that's the only way they can succeed because they're not that talented. But he blends the two, right? He's got high-end talent and still runs around as a hungry guy who's got nothing and has to make everything on the basis of his effort.
And I'll give him credit, too. I mean, in Game 1, his shooting lanes were kind of disrupted by Las Vegas, but he found other ways to try to be effective. He was over the ice, and he had 2 assists. He tried to set up some guys. He tried to adapt to the situation, which I give him credit for. The last 2 games, so he's enforced his will on the game. He has shot more, and when he shoots, he has scored, and when he scores, they have won. And that is just a mark of a brilliant player, man. It's been entertaining to watch. I thought Gustafson was fantastic in goals. After the soft goal he gave up to Pietrangelo, he pretty much bowled his back and said, "No more. No, you shall not pass." And it was pretty sturdy the rest of the way there. So, except for that shorthanded goal, I come into a place thinking it's quiet, and all of a sudden I sit down and now it gets noisy.
Well, it's like you eat. I mean, are you at the dinner location? What's going on? I thought it sounded like dishes clanking.
Well, I got through security. I'm headed for the court, so then they decided to do a sound check. So they started blasting music. So then I turned and went into what used to be Hubert's. And I'm sitting here, it's nice and quiet. And now they're setting up some table or something. Stuff's being dropped. Something else is on the ground.
Yeah, it's they need to get better.
I apologize for the background
better
noise.
Service over there, man. It seems like they got to try to hold on to the plates a little bit. It's unbelievable. The more intense.
Well, they're all nervous. It's Game 3.
Well, yeah. The more intense crowd at the X last night or Target Center tonight?
I expect Target Center to be more intense. The X ended up in rapture over how the Wild was playing, especially when they got off to a fast start, took a 2-0 lead, and kept adding on to it and getting goals from other people. So, and delivering big hits. It was kind of a slow build-up to the third period where it was just a crescendo of great hockey from the Wild that just brought the audience to its feet. Here, there's going to be fire-breathing cheering from the fans. I think at the beginning, it's going to be a raucous atmosphere. That makes me a little nervous because I think Luka thrives in these situations. I think he hopes that people talk trash to him from the stands so he can talk back. I think it's going to get him going. And once they get Rudy on isolation, I'm worried that those 29-footers are going to start going in, nothing but net. So I want to see how the Wolves react to that. But it's going to be a great atmosphere here. This place is going to be lit. It's going to be packed. People are going to be ornery. They think they can. I think they have a real shot of moving on in this series. The only thing that the Wolves have not seen from the Lakers is that what will it be like if they need to stop two of the best closers in the NBA in a close game, which they were trying to get to that point in Game 2, but not quite because they had the ball with a chance to cut it to 7 or 6, I think, with a couple minutes left, and then turned the ball over like 3 straight times. But, one of those, they haven't had that game where they're trying to hold on to like a 4-point lead with less than a minute left or 2 minutes left, and here comes Luka and LeBron coming at you. That's the one thing they haven't seen.
Well,
they've seen, I think, everything else that the Lakers can throw at them. And I think it was more of the Wolves not playing well enough in Game 2 versus the Lakers playing better, because they ended up with just 94 points after scoring 95 in Game 1.
Yeah,
So,
that's.
I like the Wolves' chances.
That's been my view as well about Game 2. But I don't think Luka alone can beat the Wolves. I think the Luka that beats the Wolves is the one who finds ways to include teammates, and that goes back to if you're playing good enough defensively elsewhere, keeping pressure on those pieces, then Luka gets reduced to what he was in the first game, which was a very efficient scorer. He was tremendous scoring, but he didn't really get anybody else involved. Game 2, he got a lot more people involved, and I don't think you have to, the idea that we got to just curl up in the fetal position because Luka can score 40 or score 36, and in isolation he's going to beat Rudy. He beats everybody in isolation. But it's the Luka who is more like the best of Joker, where he's wheeling and dealing and getting the ball to other people, and they're thriving over that. That's what you have to be concerned with. So to me, you play good defense, you challenge the other players defensively, you get in the grill of LeBron. It's hard to get in his grill, but almost every one of the other players, including who's their third scorer, Reeves,
Austin Reeves,
who
they took out of the first game. He was rendered meaningless in that game. That to me is the story where then Luka can score 36, but he's not as dangerous a threat as he is when he's involving other people. He doesn't have Kyrie, who was huge in the series last year again with Dallas, and he doesn't have three big men who are very active getting into the alley-oop thing. So to me, that's it. I don't say you let Luka score. You obviously try to provide resistance, but you try to take away Luka's ability to be the assist king that he can be, because that's when the Lakers, Mavericks last year, that's when they thrive.
I think with Luka, though, I believe that he's more of when he gets the ball, he's thinking score first. Whereas when Jokic gets the ball, I think anything could happen with him. It could be shot, pass, drive, or jumper or whatever. I think when Luka gets the ball, he's trying to figure out a way to put the ball in the basket. I think after he gets stopped and he starts looking around for help, and that's when the Wolves have to try to cut off those options to him. He's so tough to play, man, because he gets away with that little leverage, whatever hand's not handling the ball, he gets leverage with the other hand, and then he gets the defender on his hip, and he's just kind of driving him down the lane to the basket, and then that's when all his madness starts with him ducking under, pump faking, trying to fade away, and then if all else fails, then I'm trying to hit someone who's cutting to the basket. He's a certain way he plays the game, and it has to be respected. It has to be accounted for.
How did you feel about what the Vikings ultimately chose not to move down? There were some teams after them who got some mileage out of moving down. Vikings decided to play it more conservatively and stay with the 24th pick. They add I think an accomplished offensive lineman, a guard out of Ohio State University. So give me your view on whether the Vikings played it too conservative, whether they played it, under the circumstances just about right when they selected Donovan Jackson out of Ohio State.
Man, I think they had a chance to get that last spot on the offensive line figured out, and they went after it. I can't blame them for that. I like the pick. I think it rounds off all the work they did to rebuild the interior of their offensive line very nicely. And it also finishes off what should be a really good supporting cast for J.J. McCarthy. That includes a strong receiving core, even regardless of if Jordan Addison has to, serve a suspension or not. It's still going to be pretty good. An improved running game, because the trade for Jordan Mason gives them a little more. I can't wait for training camp for you to have your fireside chat with KOC when you're going to demand that they rush for 2,000 yards this year, because they do have the guys that could do it.
All I want them to do is occasionally run in the red zone. Just
Well, the funny
occasionally
part-
run in the damn red zone, and I'll be happy with that. And an offensive line that'll protect the quarterback better than it did against the Rams.
I looked it up too. I think the Vikings ran for like 340, 350 yards more than they did the previous year. So I was like, okay, that's an increase. And I sat back and said, wait a minute. Over a 17-game series, that's the season. That's just 20 more yards a game.
Yeah.
So I think you're right. And also, too, Dan, this will be interesting to watch. I'm sorry for kind of deviating here, but they tried to hand off the ball to your boy Aaron Jones in the red zone, and he would fumble a few times too. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if that make KOC kind of nervous about play calling that, but we'll see. But no, I like the pick for what the Vikings needed to accomplish, and they could focus on some other things and maybe pull off another swap. This was a draft where if he did drop out of the first round, there's value there in lower rounds. But they like the offensive lineman that was sitting there. I can't blame a club if they see a player they like and it's in the first round and it fits a need. They feel like it's the perfect intersection of need and projection. Don't go ahead and fire the bullet, and that's what Kwesi did. So. I'm actually writing for Sunday. I looked at how the NFC North approached the first round and how it kind of helped the three quarterbacks. I think all except for the Lions, the Packers, Bears, and Vikings all looked for ways to support their quarterback, while the Lions went defensive line in the first round. So I kind of took a look at that. I know Packer fans are rejoicing over the wide receiver they selected, and I'm like, okay, yeah, he's a rookie wide receiver. He could blow up because it happens.
Yes.
He also could have some growing pains, which happens. And I don't know if that really fixes the big flaw with the Packers receiving core, is that they were third in NFL in drop passes last year. So a lot of that improvement's going to be based on the guys who are already there. I just like what the Vikings did in terms of the whole scope of what it allows the offense to be and what it can do to help J.J. McCarthy settle in his first year as a starter.
I'm sorry I'm laughing. I am a bit distracted because I'm actually worried about Mel Kiper. I'm worried that I don't know whoever is picking first in the second round, I'm worried that if that team does not select Shedeur Sanders, he might actually die on the set.
It's Cleveland,
and he is. I mean, somebody did a montage.
It's so funny
of all of his Shedeur Sanders. I mean, he basically every time there was a pick, it's like, well, this is the perfect place for him to land. He's the best quarterback in the draft. And he may end up being proven right. Who's to say? But his obsession with one guy has reached the point of being frightening. It's just endless. I worry about him that he's going to have to be committed if indeed Sanders, even starts to slide in round 2. I don't think he's going to be able to handle it.
That could be awesome because Mel doesn't have as much hair as he used to, so you could actually see him blow his top live on television.
Yeah, very possible. It's fascinating. All right, we got to go because we got bonus Jonny Athletic somewhere near you in Target Center when we come back. All right,
I'm gonna go try to find him.
Have a wonderful night tonight, and we'll talk next week.
Thanks for having me, man. It's always a pleasure.
It's a pleasure. Lavelle Neal III, brought to you by Allery's Bar and Barbecue in downtown St. Paul. A little extra bonus, Johnny. We'll get maybe an injury report, if there is such a thing. Maybe even talk about some other NBA stuff. We'll find out how upset he is that Shedeur Sanders has not yet been picked in the National Football League draft. And we'll find out just how happy he is to be back here in the Twin Cities after having to battle Los Angeles traffic.
Where was he trying to go?
Well, that was my other thing.
I mean, just walk to the arena.
Know better than take surface roads.
Yeah.
You stay off the freeways in L.A. That's what everybody knows, except some rookie who doesn't understand it. I would think he'd been there enough to know that.
Those are pretty choppy, though, too, having spent 5 days out there.
Well,
but certainly, I wasn't happy to come.
Time is precious, and so are our pets. So time with our pets is extra precious. That's why we started Dutch. Dutch provides 24/7 access to licensed vets with unlimited virtual visits and follow-ups for up to 5 pets. You can message a vet at any time and schedule a video visit the same day. Our vets can even prescribe medication for many ailments, and shipping is always free. With Dutch, you'll get more time with your pets and year-round peace of mind when it comes to their vet care.
Better.
It's time for Jonny Athletic. Jonny Athletic. Jonny Athletic. And he's on the Dan Barrero right now.
I am fairly certain, by the way, Gaardsy, that before the weekend is done, Donald J. Trump will find a way to blame Zelensky for Shedeur Sanders not being drafted in the first round. Somehow, if anybody can connect those dots, I think it's him.
Mel Kiper might help him out.
And Kiper might help him out as well. Jonny Athletic, emotional about returning to the great state of Minnesota after apparently what must have been a series of traffic nightmares in the Southland, in the greater Southern California, Los Angeles area. What did you like try to go from, I don't know, like Hermosa Beach to Thousand Oaks? I mean, what were you doing that had you constantly dealing with these traffic issues?
Yeah, no, that's the whole point, Dan. I wasn't doing much of anything. We needed to go from downtown LA, right near Crypto.com Arena, to UCLA for Timberwolves practice. And that is like 8.5 miles.
Take surface roads.
45 minutes to get 8.5 miles both ways. Just brutal.
Did you take surface
roads?
And
not to mention, the one guy took us surface roads back, and that was still 40 some minutes.
What was the temperature?
Temperature was beautiful. It was it was 70 degrees, sunny.
Enjoy it, man.
Be where your feet are.
There's trade-offs to everything. Here it was like 42 in a driving rain, and there was no traffic, but it was bitter out.
I'll take the weather and being able to get where I need to get in under an hour and a half.
I'm happy for you.
That's what I'll take any day of the week.
You like
but I'm
it
from here. You're not from here,
no,
Dan.
I don't understand. I wouldn't know. I know it's very easy for you to dismiss me. I understand all of that.
Yeah.
Did you run into Lavelle? We just had Lavelle on. He's somewhere in Target Center too. It was very noisy where he was.
Lavelle just walked in and he looked at me and said, "Hey, you're on the radio. They just kicked me off to get you on." And I said, "Well, hey, it's the playoffs, baby. This is how it goes.
This is it.
Thanks for keeping the seat warm."
All right, so what are we looking for tonight? I mean, the working assumption is always you lose the last game, you're going to come out on far, and that's what you have to do. You can't mess around with this game. You got to come out fast. I'm not as concerned with that as I want whatever they do to be sustained. I think this needs to be a sustained attack, start to finish, to put them on the defensive again and to try to take away the notion they have that they can say, hey, we can take control of this thing. We figured them out last game. Didn't play great, but we figured them out. So what does Jonny Athletic need to see tonight?
Yeah, I just need to see them play a smarter offensive game, Dan. I think that they got a little befuddled by the Lakers defense in game 2, and it really took them out of everything from ball movement to body movement. They only shot 25 threes, which for them is way, way too low, especially coming off of game 1's success. And so they played right into the Lakers' hands. Now, LeBron, Luka, they all did a really good job. They deserve credit for how much harder they played defensively, how much more physical they were. But I just don't think that Anthony Edwards, that the Wolves in general really thought the game very much. And so they just kind of really submitted to the Lakers in that first quarter. And by then you're down 19 and then you're trying to come back and it's too big of a hole. So, I think that I want to see how they approach that Lakers defense because I don't think, Dan, that the Lakers will adjust very much. I don't think they're going to change a whole lot because it worked for them, and I think that's the only bullet they have to fire. So the Wolves have to figure that part of it out and just play a smarter game, get better shots, and get on top of things much earlier than they did in Game 2.
Yeah, I think we're all for all of that. So Edwards made it sound as if he was a bit confused by the Lakers' approach with him. How different was it? How can the Wolves adjust to it?
Yeah, so it was different, less so in schematically and more so just in execution. Yeah. You saw LeBron, you saw Luka, you saw they put Vanderbilt out there, Hachimura. A bunch of these guys were very, very physical, very active with their feet in Game 2. And so I do think this was a case, Dan, of I don't think that game 2 was essentially the Wolves being happy with the game 1 win and just like, kind of caught off guard that way. I think they came into game 2 after the ease of game 1 and said, we got this, man. We're the better team. We're going to roll. And so once the Lakers started to put up a fight, once they brought that intensity and probably got away with a few fouls, but it wasn't, that's just the way that it's going to be in the playoffs. I just think that threw them totally off kilter. And then, you have Naz Reid and Dante DiVincenzo both in foul trouble, and those are their two best offensive players off the bench that usually change things for them and get them going. And I think that they were on tilt the rest of the game, just trying to figure out how to generate any kind of offense. And so they just have to be a lot more patient, and they have to play with just more intensity and more edge and more speed. They were really good in transition in game 1. They were not good in transition in game 2. So they got to get out and run a bit too.
6 points, I think, in the second game after they getting 25 in transition in the opener. Julius Randle had probably the best numbers, and you could say he was the feistiest in game 2. Did he play the right way for this team, or was it a game in which he kind of had to because no one else seemed to have it? Where does Randle fit in? What version of Randle do the Wolves need tonight?
Yeah, what I would say is I think he played very well, Dan, but he played that way out of necessity. I think he looked around at the way everyone else was playing, at what was going on, and he said, all right, you want to be physical? I'm going to go right into, the bull in the china closet and just come right at you and go one-on-one, mano-a-mano. Now, it worked out for him, and to, I guess, the Wolves' credit and to him, they got back into the game in the fourth quarter, but Chris Finch has said it all year long, and I agree with him that the best Randle is not ISO heavy. Let's go one-on-one. I'm just going to take you to the paint and pound you down there. It's triple-double Randle, close to triple-double Anthony Edwards. It's moving the ball. It's driving and kicking. It's getting good shots for his teammates and himself. And so we saw a lot of isolation from Randle in game 2, but I think it was only because that was the only thing that the Wolves really had going for them. But they're not at their best when they're playing that way. They've got to get him facilitating more, and they've got to get Anthony Edwards facilitating more. He had 9 assists in game 1 and only 1 assist in game 2. So both of the main guys have to be playmakers and not just shot makers for the Wolves to be able to be on top of the Lakers in this game.
Lastly, what is the key to the Wolves reducing Luka to scorer as he was in game 1 and not so much facilitator as he also was in game 2?
Yeah, I think part of it was that, certainly the Lakers missed shots that they would normally make in game 1, but I also just think that they did a good job, and they did a good job in the second half of this, Dan. I think they want Luka to try and want to embarrass Rudy Gobert.
Correct.
To want to go one-on-one with him. And they lured him into a bit of a trap there in the second half, and it really stagnated the Lakers offense and allowed the Wolves to get back in it. And so, we may see, or they may want to see, Luka draw Rudy out in the switch and try and take those jumpers and take him to the paint. And he may even have more success than he did in game 2 with Rudy, but the Wolves would be happy for that to happen if that means it's all Luka, it's less Reeves, it's less LeBron, it's less Gabe Vincent, those types of guys.
I said last one, but I do have one more. Do you have any fear, do the Wolves have any fear that LeBron has one game in him when we go, oh my God, it's LeBron James and he just arrived?
Absolutely, 100%. They have not seen that yet from LeBron in this series. And Dan, if I were a betting man, I would think that he's going to try to do that tonight because they had 2 days off. Now game 4 is early on Sunday. There's not a lot of rest time. So if you're the Lakers and you're looking at what's the most likely one that we steal here to get home court back, I would say tonight is the night. They're a little bit fully rested. LeBron is ready to go. And so I would imagine he is going to come out and really give everything he has to try and win this game. Both he and Luka played really hard in game 2, and they darn near ran out of gas in the fourth quarter, but they were able to just get over enough. But the LeBron game is probably coming. He's going to make shots. He hasn't really done that much this series. And so the Wolves are very wary of that and very cognizant of that. They got to just try and wear him down and stay in front of him. And so he doesn't get going, because if that happens, yes, then this series turns pretty quickly.
Do you have any concerns that if the Wolves do win tonight, that the league might announce a late change to the schedule and delay Game 4 till Monday? Is there any chance that could happen as well? Because the conspiracy theorists are not ruling it out.
I wouldn't rule it out either. Although I will say, in seriousness, though, Dan, I'm more worried about the Wolves on Sunday than I am the Lakers almost, because all these young guys, they don't get up for those afternoon games. It does not usually work for them. So I think that I would be wary of that. But yes, I mean, they would do that. They would put some WWE referees in the game to throw a steel chair at Rudy Gobert and do all that. Anything is possible if the Wolves are up 2-1 going into Sunday or Monday or Tuesday or whenever they play the damn game.
Thank you, Johnny. We'll be in touch next week. Thanks. Have fun tonight.
Thanks, Dan.
Jonny Athletic. Bonus John Athletic from Target Center, where the Wolves will be hosting the Los Angeles Lakers in an all-important game, number 3. Can the Wolves do what the Wild did last night? That's the question. We'll wrap.
A lot of products say they're clean, but what does that really mean? At Ritual, we have very high standards for what clean really means. Like for our best-selling Essential Prenatal Multivitamin, which is heavy metal tested, clean label project certified, and GMO-free. It features key mom-to-baby ingredients like folate for neural tube support, choline for baby's brain development, and omega-3 for brain and vision support. But our high standards don't stop there. All of the ingredients in our Essential Prenatal Multivitamin are sourced through our made traceable supply chain, so it's clear where they come from and why they're there. Because clean isn't clean enough, especially during pregnancy. Shop Ritual for the support you deserve, with 25% off at ritual.com/prenatal. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Things up. That's
Show Wrap presented by American Pressure, commercial-grade pressure washer since 1975.
It's the bumper-to-bumper Show Wrap.
Live and local the rest of the night here on the Fan. In fact, as soon as we wrap things up, no Fan and a Man on the Air, we'll go to Target Center, the proverbial cage location, for Max and Parker Fox, correct?
He's back.
Basically a pregame to the pregame.
Yes.
And then the regular pregame. And then the Wolves tonight, and then I think they're doing Wild Wine, Timberwolves Wine Line tonight as well after the game.
I don't believe so.
Oh, they're not?
No,
I'm sorry.
No
Okay.
fan line. I heard Max on earlier today. I don't think there's a fan line.
Okay.
But there is. We've been streaming for the last 2 days on KFAN.com/watch. Not only can you listen to Parker and Max. Tonight, right now at 6:30, you can also watch
them.
Parker and Max, thanks to Youngsteads.
Okay.
The stream is continuing, so
right.
will Max take his shirt off before the game?
And that will be there?
Yes.
Okay, gotcha, on location.
Who knows?
And who's to say? Yeah, all right, that's good to know. A lot of hockey stuff tomorrow, starting with, I assume In the Zone will be reacting with Double T and Sinekin reacting to game number 3 tonight for the Wolves. There is a way, as we saw in game 1, to render the concern about the last 2 minutes meaningless, and that's to have control of the game to such a point. Now, I'm not saying you can realistically win again by 25, but I'm saying you can be up 7, you can be up 9, and, that's in the playoffs, you're going to have to win close games eventually. We all know that, but there's no rule that says you can't dominate enough to where there's less concern about you. In that sense, if you want to view the Lakers as the team that have 2 proven closers, you don't have to worry about them. They're not as dangerous if they find themselves down 10 points with 2 minutes to go. It's pretty hard. It's not impossible to come back from that, but it's much more difficult than if it's a 1-basket or 2-basket game. And I think the Wolves have to go in with very much a killer approach in that regard on every level tonight, a no mercy kind of approach. And as Johnny brought up, we've talked about this all week. The obsession with trying to hunt individuals, whether it's the big man Rudy or Conley or whoever, it's a mixed bag. If you go too far with it, even in an offense that's largely run by Luka, you have even less movement. it's even less likely that other players can get involved. And I think it can very much backfire if that becomes your obsession. It might make for some very nice viral shots of, Rudy's knees getting broken,
right?
All that nonsense. But in all honesty, I think it might well play into the Wolves' hands, as long as most of the time the play ends with Luka taking a shot as opposed to distributing for really high percentage shots involving any of several other Lakers players who aren't particularly good about creating their own shot. That, to me, is the key to this thing tonight. So we'll see. Sermons on Sunday is scheduled for 9 a.m., so I'm sure at that point we'll be reacting not only to the Wolves game 3, but the Wild game 4, right? Because the Wild
got a
play
hell
on
of a
Saturday.
sermons, yeah.
It's not Abyss-like, which is a really good thing. And we'll be probably anticipating the Twins getting the brooms out against the Angels over the weekend.
And Royce Lewis's latest setback in St. Paul.
Sad but true. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening today. We'll start it all over again, as I said, on Sermons, beginning at 9 a.m. on Sunday. Max and Parker Fox next, right here in the Fan.
Change the pace. Be happy. Enjoy it.
Ooh, boy, this is a big package.
A lot of products say they're clean, but what does that mean? Ritual has high standards for what clean means, like their essential prenatal multivitamin, which is heavy metal tested, clean label project certified, and GMO free. It features key mom-to-baby nutrients like folate, choline, and omega-3. Clean isn't clean enough, especially during pregnancy. Get 25% off at ritual.com/prenatal. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.